some movies try to be too smart for their own good. And honestly, the worst movies are the ones that could have been great. So I'm doing this Sinners review, and honestly, it's gonna be a little bit of a rant slash review. I'm not doing a formal review for this. I didn't write a script or anything. This is just really me coming off the dome with me gathering my thoughts about how I feel about this movie. So let's get into it. Sinners review. So first off, I think the movie was trying to do too many different things at one time. I don't know what genre this movie was supposed to be in because it's claiming to be a horror film, but it's not really scary. There's not really. It was kind of billed as an action movie, like an action horror, but there's not really any action in the movie until the last 30 minutes, and it's only 10 minutes of that is actual action. So that's one of my first gripes with the movie. Second gripe with the movie, if this is supposed to be a vampire movie, there's not enough vampire in it. And what I mean by that is you don't meet the vampires until it seems like 30 minutes into the film. If the film supposed to be a vampire film, why are we learning more about the vampire? Because one thing about vampire films, if they're going to be if there is a human that's the main character of the film, the vampire is also another main character. This vampire was not charismatic at all. I didn't really feel anything towards his vampire. I didn't really particularly feel scared of him because he was a vampire. It was just kind of like this guy, he's the central bad guy. Here he is right here. I don't even remember his name. The only people whose name I really remember is Sam, Smoke, and Stack, and Mary. That's about it. Like the characters really didn't feel memorable. Like this movie, this movie really was not a good movie. This movie had so many chances to be a good movie, and honestly, I feel like there's a director's cut out there that's missing. That's about 30 minutes of film missing that kind of could have explained it a little bit better. If that was added into it, it could have expanded upon the lore of the film a little bit better. Because it seems like the more interesting plot of the movie is the things that we didn't see. So apparently, Smoke and Stack were in World War One. We could have seen what they could have been doing in Chicago a little bit, at least a little bit of flashback, because they just kind of showed up and the movie just kind of started. And apparently all this happened in one night. So you telling me in 1930s Mississippi, you can buy a juke joint, a sawmill from an old white man that's in the KKK, with of course stolen money. And then, which of course, they were planning on killing him at the end. But even still, buy a juke joint with the money, get it up and running, get the power running to it, get it swept out, cleaned out, all that kind of good stuff. Have enough, get people to come into town, to come and all come down to this juke joint all within one day. All this happened within one day. It feels so tight. The film didn't really give itself a chance to like really breathe, even though it was 2 hours long. It just seemed like things just kept happening. Now I will praise the performances of this film because I particularly like Michael B. Jordan playing as twins, which honestly I would say this was probably his best role. He did a great job playing the twins. I particularly like I don't remember her name. The girl, Smoke's girl, the black girl, she did a great job. I liked her. She carried a lot of emotional depth. I didn't really like Haley Steinfeld's character. I feel like her character, like, there's this thing going around on social media where they're just like praising her character for being vulgar. It just kind of comes out of nowhere. It just seems a little bit forced. And it's not even because she's white or anything like that, but it just kind of seemed like, I don't know. It was a lot of sexual things in this film, which I know, vampires and sex and things like that, but it was still just kind of, I don't know. It was a little bit cringy. And then the part that really just threw me off, that really just took me out of the entire film, because this is supposed to be a period piece set in the 1930s in Mississippi. Wonderful freaking setting under the backdrop of a vampire film or whatever. The musical sequence in this film was absolutely terrible. It completely took me out of the film. Once I actually seen that part and it started happening, I was like, what is this? Like, because now are we trying to be a musical? Because like I understand they're trying to make a musical element, but it's like, is this a vampire film? Is this movie trying to send a message, tell us a message, or anything like that? Like how do all these things relate? It's just so many different elements of this film, and like a lot of them just really don't relate to each other. And so that's kind of one of the things that really just kind of threw me off. Yeah, it took too long to kind of get started. I really didn't like the opening with Sam when it just kind of showed. It just shows like he walking into the church and everything. So it already kind of gave it away that something terrible happened. And if you know movies, it's so predictable that it's a whole big vampire night, and Sam survives, and he's one of the last survivors. You know, it kind of gives it away when you do things like that. Like, it's so much that I wanted to discover in this film that I just really didn't have the chance to. I didn't it could have been a great movie. I honestly feel like if they were gonna make this a vampire film, they should have went all the way. The scene where the main vampire was running from the Native Americans when they were chasing him, trying to kill him, like while the sun was going down, and he just kind of fell out of the sky and ran into those people's house trying to get inside. That should have been the opening scene. We should have already established that this was a vampire movie, because a lot of people didn't know that, because you didn't introduce the vampires to so late in the film. It just kind of just springs it on you. I mean, I knew that, but some people don't, and so that kind of really messed it up for me. They should have established that this was a vampire film, and then the musical element. I was like, they're trying to show that blues and folk music influence rock and roll and influence hip hop and the Chinese and but it was like, so what? Like, I want to see a vampire killing scene, and it seemed like so many things that the characters did was just kind of stupid. I mean, you didn't really see these vampires didn't really necessarily seem threatening. They don't seem particularly stronger than the average human. They just seem like they just kind of got a horde on them. Like, vampires usually kind of have a lore, which I did appreciate the respect that Ryan Coogler did show to the lore by being allergic to the garlic, the wooden stake in the heart, the having to be invited in. Like, I get all of that, but it was still kind of like, it was kind of weird because it was so many people inside of the juke joint, and they all left, and all of them got turned into vampires. Like, not one person was able to kind of get away. And then it was so many loose ends that didn't really get tied up. Like, you had so long in this movie of all this kind of happening. It seemed like there was more dancing and carrying on in this film than there was vampirism in this film. So when all the vampires finally got in, and she let them in, and the Asian lady let them all in, it was just kind of weird, because everybody just kind of died and relatively, like, really fast, and it just didn't really do it for me. The action really wasn't it. Like, the characters made dumb decisions, like, throughout the movie. It was real cliche. The music number just really took me out of the film. I don't know. I feel like there was a great film involved. There's a great film in there somewhere. I feel like there's a lot of footage missing from this film that could have really made it a great film. I honestly feel like it would have been a better film if we showed, like, the brothers fighting in World War One, how they got to Chicago, like when they left and everything like that, and all the heists, how they got the money to come back down. They get back down here, and the people from Chicago, or maybe they tell the KKK to kill them, and they end up shooting the KKK. Like, that would have been a better film, like a real heist twin brother film. That would have been so much better film, because I feel like this movie did not want to just go all the way in a vampire film, and that's one of my problems with film nowadays. Like, a lot of times films just trying to give you a message. So when the film ended, it just felt very anticlimactic. It's like when you see something like this happening, you would think this is like a big point in history. Like, what did the townspeople find all these dead people? Like, what? Like, did anybody know about this? Like, this is a huge thing that happened. Like, I'm sure a lot of noise was being made. Like, how far was it? Did nobody just kind of know what was going on when all this chaos and ruckus and everything? I don't know. It was it was missing a lot. It was very confusing, and I was excited to see this film. Like, I was really excited to see this film. So it's not me hating. I just kind of felt like the film was missing a lot, and everybody's kind of hyping it like one of the best films of 2025, and like, oh my God, this film is such a masterpiece. It's really not a masterpiece because just those few things could have made it better. So, just me sharing my thoughts about how I felt about the movie Sinners. I'm not editing this. If you agree or you disagree, drop down in the comments and let me know how you feel. Cause yeah, I wanted to really like this film, but I really did it. Yeah. Bye.